good man.
All right, let's get started. Calling to order the June 16 Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments Transportation Advisory Committee meeting. We have a quorum, and let's go ahead and do introductions. Oh, sorry, I should say the time. It's about 1:35. So introductions, Jennifer Irvin, El Paso County.
Brian Patulli, City of Colorado Springs Mountain Metro Transit.
Laura Pellegrino, City of Little Park.
Eric Horstmeyer, Street of Airport Place.
Robert Askovich, down in Palmer Lake. Craig Gasper, PPACG.
I don't know who I am.
I know who you are.
Just kidding. Wendy Bennett, CDOT Region 2.
Michael Snow, CDOT DTD.
Blake Greenwood, City of Fountain.
Tori Chavez, El Paso County.
Jennifer Valentine, PPACG.
Kevin Reyes, PPACG.
Anna Stevens, PPACG.
And I think Wade from the City of Manitou Springs is about to join us. So thanks, Wade. So we have an agenda in front of us. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? Any comments from our audience?
We don't even have an audience today.
I know, that was funny. Trying to be funny. Oh, Brian has a comment.
I just wanted to thank you, PPACG staff, for getting my tip amendment added in there.
Sure, I didn't see the email.
Oh, that's right. Thanks.
And
See,
then-
now we have a full load.
Yeah, and Tim Roberts, City of Colorado Springs, thanks. Good to see you.
Well, surely.
He can be Carl today if you want.
Hey, could you get mine too, please?
Grab somebody else.
The one that says Brian?
I just say, would you like to be Carl?
Great. Did I already call for public comments? Now I'm lost.
I think we need to vote.
Oh, agenda approved. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
So, no public comments on the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Next item is the approval of the May 19th, 2016 meeting minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review those. Any comments or corrections?
Just on attendance, the fact that it's not noted that I wasn't there. And for some reason, the May one, by missing, I recall I was actually listed as, I think I was listed as a guest.
Oh.
And I wasn't here the last month meeting, so I couldn't point that out. But I just want to make sure that I'm actually listed as a member and show that I wasn't here last month.
Do we know something you don't know?
Maybe there's a thing you don't know.
Alrighty. Any other comments? So motion to approve with those amendments and noting the last one as well.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Give me a second.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I must be off today. Thank you, Brian. Motion and second. Any further comment? Alrighty. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain. Wasn't here.
I wouldn't either.
Board of Directors report from the June 15, 2016 meeting. I was not able to attend. Thank Victoria Chavez for doing
She did yeoman's work. She bailed me out when I couldn't answer
I
something.
saw a little backstroking going on there, so I thought I better dive in.
I appreciate it. The board did approve the tip and the plan. They had some questions about some of the methodology that went into, I think they used the word horse trading. And Victoria answered that for me. And then I gave them a minute-and-a-half introduction to the UPWP, just so they understand what's going to be coming towards them. So, got some compliments on the amount of comments we got, because we did get about 10 times more comments than we usually do. So it's Facebook. Targeted ads cost us, I think, 3 cents an ad, and to each person, and which is
Pretty reasonable.
well, we spent the same we would have on the Gazette, and we actually got like 150 comments back. So you can do targeted ads on Facebook, and it works great.
Huh.
So,
Thank you for that. I didn't know
Yeah.
you could do that.
yeah. So,
I'm curious to know how specific Is Facebook capable of geographically identifying folks?
Municipality or county, we do county because that's the easiest. And then you can ask for other characteristics. I want women in El Paso County, or I want, someone 18 to 25 in El Paso County. We did 18 and older in El Paso County, didn't matter. So, and it tells you how many people see it, how many people it gets served to, how many people click on it, and then and so then you can track, so we serve it, and about 1 in 100 that see it click on it, and then when they get to our web page, about 1 in 100 they get to our web page, then go on to do the survey. So it's it doesn't seem like a lot, but 150 comments versus 15, so.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool. Anything else with the Board of Directors report?
Not really. There may be not a directors meeting in July. I heard that subtext throughout the meeting, that they'd like to cancel July. So.
Does that cause us any problems for rolling over?
It shouldn't.
You
So.
won't go till August.
Right.
Excellent.
So.
Just means you can't take July off.
No, it means I can take July
Actually,
off.
I may take vacation that week then. So I'm actually kind of hoping.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Anyway, so
And
that's,
it's administrative anyway, for the most part,
Yep.
so.
Alrighty, item number 6, the 2017 to 2022 TIP Amendment number 1. This is a review and recommend item. Jennifer Valentine,
Or Kevin.
or Kevin, sorry.
you read it right. We're just changing things up on you.
Well, I'm just having a hard day today, too, apparently.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Reyes, the transportation planner here at PPACG. We had to change it up today. I was at a meeting all week at Mountain Metro, and it got out early, so I'm able to be at the meeting today. So, yeah. So as you guys already know, we had the TIP passed yesterday by the board. So we're working on Amendment 1 for that right now. And Amendment 1 is going to come in 2 parts. The first part is the one that was mailed out to you guys last week. That's what I'm going to focus on right now. The second part is part of the amendment is something that Mountain Metro is going to be doing, and they're going to walk that on the meeting. And so Brian Vituli is going to be talking about that after I discuss the first part. So the first part of Amendment 1, if you look at the memo, we got some new numbers from CDOT for STP Metro, TAP, and CMAT categories. The reason that we got new numbers was because of the FAST Act. They basically changed the amount for the funding pools. So if you look at the memo in the right column where it says net change, you can see that CMAC every year, 17, 18, and 19, all the amount of money increase for that category. For the TAP category, you'll notice 17, 18, and 19, we had all the money decrease. And then for STP Metro, fiscal year 18, we had a decrease. So overall, we had more of an increase in CMAC. So we don't really see this being a problem. What we're going to have to do is basically have a workshop, and we're going to have to move some of the projects into CMAC. And we see that this is actually probably going to help most of the projects because you're going to get a better match if we do this. If you notice, STP Metro fiscal year 2018, it's a pretty significant drop, but the TIP is still fiscally constrained in this year, so we don't really have to worry about that. Yeah, that really sums it up. Do you guys have any questions for me about these different numbers?
Victoria?
Do you happen to know the net of all of them? Whether we were up or down? And I can-
Yeah, that's a good question. Just looking at it now, it looks like between the CMAC and the TAP, because those are the ones that we're going to have to change, it looks like we have more, we're coming out with more with the CMAC. But I can definitely give you some real numbers on that. I haven't done the calculation yet.
Just curious.
Yeah.
Craig?
I think on the far right column, that it should be 226,330 instead of 226.33. I think it's 226,000. Because I'm just looking at it, it's 822 to 10 and 48. So that'll cover. We should be able to cover all of the reduction in TAP with that CMAC funding.
You're saying what? what you saying is two?
It show that, doesn't it? 226.33.
Well, it should be 226,330. So it's in the, oh yeah, it's just, it should have a 0 on there to make it consistent. Sorry.
So you're saying put a 0 at the end of the?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
So we know that it's thousands and not dollars.
Okay, I'll make that change.
You have to do that at the bottom of the metro too,
Metro
then.
one.
Yeah.
0, 0.
Any other questions or comments? Tim?
So if I recall, and I don't have it with me, aren't we like all of the 2018 Metro Monies programs, and now we're going to be short? How soon do we need to reconcile
Well,
that?
no, we're long. We have extra money in every, so like in 2018, we have an extra 2.3 million.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait.
No, we're short. It's a negative 2,
Oh, I see what you're
2, 3.
saying.
So
Wendy?
But
We've got the
we,
roll.
we don't have all of the roll forward accounted for in this. This is just the OFMB worksheet for this time period. So now, as we come to the end of the year and we're closing out projects, there's project savings that have come back to the pool. So that will roll forward, and I think there's enough money to cover that 18 issue.
So some of
So
that,
in July, I'll be able to tell you that for sure. For now, you just have to adopt these numbers, move this forward, because this is what is coming down to the control totals. But I don't think it's going to affect you in this much of a negative manner, because we're going to have project savings and roll forwards that will cover some of this, and it won't be as bad as it looks here on paper right now. But I can't tell you that till we close the books.
right? And does
After
this,
the 23rd.
does this mean we might be able to advance some projects too into 2017?
I can't tell you that. I don't know
Well,
if we have that much
Well,
money.
yeah, well, there's 1.1 million in 17, so we can advance $1 million worth of projects.
Right.
So,
So there might be some other shuffling that we're going to need to do to make it right, to make it work, but it should be okay. So nobody will lose anything is what I'm guessing at this point. I'm 99.9% sure.
Okay. I mean, it looks like the net shortfall is 500,000 about.
Yeah, so we'll be all
So if you
right.
make that up,
Yeah.
then we're kosher. Okay.
Any sense of when we'll have that workshop?
That's a good question. I haven't talked about
it'll
it.
be a couple of weeks before we get the closeouts from the year end, so maybe the third week of July, maybe the morning of the TAC meeting or
We can
something.
probably do that very easily.
You're on vacation, maybe.
Yeah, I think it will be that week. I'm on vacation.
Can you make it that week?
No?
Well, I guess I would just suggest if we can schedule it now, everybody's
Yeah.
really busy, it's the summertime, it might be a good thing to
Crazy
try and
busy.
look for dates and do a doodle poll or something like that, since those are.
Do we know when we'll get the closeouts?
I should have, the Fat Lady sings for us on the 23rd.
23rd, okay.
So we should be able to do something right after, like maybe the first full week after the 4th of July or something, I would say.
I can send out a doodle poll later today with some dates around that time, and we can go from there if that sounds good. Okay.
Anybody else have any more questions on the update to the control pools, the budget pools, and then we can move on to the Mountain Metro one?
Quick comment.
Okay.
Can we start getting the tip in Excel so we can sort of walk through the numbers with you?
Yep.
And we might want to talk about or think about, and maybe it's better off for the next topic, but think about what sort of procedures or something that we might need to put in place to make sure we don't get into a pickle again and have to go through all of this.
Yep. Well, one of the things we're going to do is New Jersey Institute of Technology has all of our tip numbers, and they're putting it into their ETIP format, which it sounds like North Front Range may be adopting too, the ETIP, that. And so then it'll be all database. You'll have total control over your numbers. You just have to, the actual final change won't happen until Kevin clicks the accept, but it'll be all, there'll be a request to tip amendment. You'll be able to see all the numbers. Yours, you'll be able to change. You'll be able to see everybody else's. So we should probably try to have a workshop on that, or at least a presentation on the capabilities of that.
Something so we know what we're going to be
Exactly.
able to do.
Yep.
But yeah, in the meantime, maybe just at least let us
Yeah,
look over your
you can see
shoulder.
the Excel, yep.
Yeah, thank you.
still have the other one, no, we still have the.
There's the other half.
You want to do them?
Yes.
Sorry, I
Thanks,
thought we
Brian.
were going in.
Nope.
What if we don't support Brian?
I'm sorry, we said no to Brian, so. we're
Oh,
moving approval.
I'll sit back down.
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon. This seems strangely familiar to be standing up here talking about a TIP amendment.
Deja vu?
Yeah. And again, thank you all for accommodating this request. We had a little bit of time, but we were hoping to get it on this month. What we're requesting to do is to rescope a previously programmed bus stop accessibility project that we received funding for 2 years ago or so. This is our Route 6. Route 6 operates from the Citadel Mall down here in the southeast, travels up Hancock along 4th Street, El Paso, and just with our spring service change, we are ending it here at the 15-minute transit corridor on Cascade. It used to run parallel to through the old north end to the downtown transit terminal. So what we're proposing to do is to repurpose the dollars that we got for bus stop improvements along 4th Street. The improvements are only going to be made on 4th Street, not on El Paso or Hancock. And what we would like to do is straighten this route out and operate it on Fillmore, increase on-time performance, and we believe there are a lot more ridership generators along Fillmore. There's a land use map here that shows this circle here is the segment that we would like to move the improvements to. So you'll see there's a lot of commercial properties. Up here there's some ridership up in this area, but this is just a little bit over a quarter of a mile from 4th Street to Fillmore. So it's easily walkable. Whatever ridership we have up here in these few stops, riders can walk down these adjacent streets down to Fillmore. So we're currently going through a categorical exclusion with the FTA, and they said that we should do this concurrently, get approval from the MPO to reprogram these funds or to rescope the project. And again, this is a map. This segment in red is what we just eliminated with our spring service change. So it was in duplication to another service that came down Cascade. And this is what we're hoping to eliminate and just to run on Fillmore. So the CADX review looks at adjacent land uses, environmental justice issues, hazardous materials, floodplain, noise, natural and historical resources, and impacts. So there are no changes in dollars. The project's staying the same. I believe we have about $800,000 that has already been flexed to the FTA, and I think the money that we got as part of the escalation that when we went for FY 2019 funds, I believe that's still in under STP Metro, so we need to flex that also. But so there's no changes in dollars. It's just a repurposing of the funds to make the improvements on a corridor that we'd much rather be on. We're trying to streamline our services, make them more efficient, but also capture more ridership. And we would like to not, while there will be some community benefit, public benefit to improving sidewalks in this location, residents could benefit from that. But it doesn't look very good if we make those improvements on a segment that we operate on, and then a year or two down the road we move our route. So we're trying to be a little bit proactive and do this. So are there any questions?
Great.
So, but it's still the same type of work. It's still pedestrian accessibility, sidewalk improvements, ramp, I mean, it's still the same type of work, it's just literally moving it a quarter mile south.
Yeah, because this segment in particular on Fillmore, and that's what's been keeping us from making this change, is there are no sidewalks. There are multiple access points to businesses. Some businesses are actually in the right-of-way in some areas. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. There are more, it's going to require more easements, property easements, and so on, but it's totally worth it to make these improvements to have us operate on Fillmore.
As tight as it is on Fillmore and that stretch right there, will they have like cut-ins?
No, we'll just stay in the roadway, and like we do on Colorado Avenue or any other place where we have 4 lanes, and we'll just take the lane, pull to the curb, and vehicles will have to get around us. Yeah.
So you're essentially eliminating that duplicate of service.
Yes, yeah, and we already did with our spring service change. This segment going north-south is already gone. Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Is this a 15-minute route?
No, this is hourly. This is an hourly route that ties into our 15-minute service on Nevada. Well, further north of Nevada on Cascade at this point. And this has Monday through Saturday service only. We added Saturday service a couple of years ago.
Any other questions for Brian?
Thanks for considering.
Fine.
All right.
So within that agenda item, we essentially have 2 items, the Mountain Metro Transit and then the other item as far as the control totals, the new funding totals. So does anybody else have any other questions or concerns? Have a motion?
Approval above.
Second.
First and a second, any further comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 8, Title V and Limited English Proficiency Plans. This is a review and recommend for public comment. Oh, sorry. Man, I'm just having all kinds of issues today, right? The Unified Work Program Amendment number 1. This is a request for information from Ms. Valentine.
Yes. Good afternoon, Jennifer Valentine, Transportation Planner with PPACG. Make sure I'm on the right one. UPWP, okay. All right, so per federal transportation planning regulations, MPOs, councils, and councils of government like PPACG are required to develop what's called a Unified Planning Work Program each year, which basically outlines all the transportation planning activities that will occur over the next year within the metropolitan planning area. So the UPWP that we're working on right now is anticipated to be approved by the board in August, but at a minimum, we need to have our next UPWP in place before the next federal fiscal year begins in October of 2016. So it's labeled as a discussion item or a request more information because although this is kind of an internal document and contract for us, we do need some information from all of our member entities. So basically the information we need from you is the second sentence of the summary paragraph, so a description of the types of work that you will be conducting over the next year, work products, who will perform the work, timeframes, cost of the work, and the sources of the funding. So we need that information from all of you as soon as possible so we can finish putting together our UPWP and get that submitted and approved on time.
How would you best like that? Would you like the individual entities to email that to you? I mean,
Sure. You can all, I guess I'll volunteer myself, you can all email those to me and I'll make sure they get to the right place.
Craig, oh, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Sorry. So this is an amendment to the 2016-2017 UPWP, right? That was adopted about a year ago, the new one, right? So we're not, because I thought I saw on the board memo yesterday that there was talk of a 17-18 UPWP.
Oh, no, it's a 16-17. That'd be my typo if it said 17-18. Sorry.
So this is just an amendment to the existing?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right.
So I have a question, Craig. Are there, I mean, I'm not trying to add more work to PPACG staff, but there's a couple things that we've been talking about possibly doing as part of, and I'm just wondering, does it make sense to add it to the UPWP? One is looking at, the options for doing like a regional travel account program, the option for doing like a regional pavement thing.
I think if we add it, it makes it more real also.
Okay. And then I also like the option of exploring the regional safety thing based upon last month's
meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and so definitely, I mean, those would be things to add in. So, wonder where I'd put that.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that
a
was.
recommendation from me is to include some of those.
Probably
I
regional
mean,
planning.
I don't know if we want to say we're going to get those done, but I think we need to at least explore the option to be able to do something like
Yep.
that. And then the fourth thing is, and I think I talked to you and Michael about this, is the concern I have in looking at the road classifications. Just to let everybody know, we found out that there's some disconnect between road classifications in Otis versus what we have, which if they're not correct, you may not be eligible for federal emergency relief funds. So, and there's probably other implications as well.
Yep. And FHWA just put out their new functional classification guide, so it's a logical thing to do is, well, let's look at their new guidance and do it. Make adjustments, all right.
So 4 things I just added to your UPWP.
Oh, perfect, that's why we're here.
For our UPWP.
Yes, exactly.
And if other people think of things as you're thinking of your own tasks, feel free to include those in your email and we'll consider them.
So which section are we?
Well, it would be on the second page of the memo, the supporting tasks include, I think, a couple of it, like the regional traffic counts program, I would say, explore collaborative regional data gathering programs. And so just that's a tweak in the editorial change. And then in the National Highway System roadway, right below it, roadway functional classification, change that verbiage to something about verify functional classification against new FHWA guidance or something.
You might actually say more than just verify. I think what you're actually
Verifying.
talking about doing, which is needed
Verifying.
following every decennial census, which is an actual look at all of them. Like, here's the time to get in, examine what you have, what needs to be changed. So you get it done in one fell swoop, and there's a coordinated effort behind it. So however you want to word that.
So the supporting task is this where, Jennifer, you wanted us to focus on?
Oh, the types of information that we're requesting are summarized in that the summary paragraph, the second sentence.
Oh, okay. Second sentence.
So like the downtown transit terminal, we've got that in there, and the Metro Thoroughfares Corridor Plan, we've got those in there. And I assume that it's basically the same. We may just want to confirm that we have the right source of funds or whatever, I don't know. But anything else that you'll be doing in 2017, if you're...
Like the Las Vegas corridor study that this is.
Yeah,
Well, is
exactly.
that- since that's a TIP project, do we still need to reference it, or is that?
Yeah, all planning projects need to be assembled into the UPWP, so,
30th
even if
Street?
they're in the tip. So, but if they're in the tip, it makes it easy because we can pull it right out and drop. It's about the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are a number of projects like that. I'll use the downtown corridor or the downtown transit relocation study as an example. Obviously, we're aware of it, but it's easier if we get from you the timelines and the specifics, so then we can just pop it in.
And the Old North End safety study would probably be one we'd want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if that moves forward.
Yeah. But we should put it in. I mean, if you don't, I mean, it's just, there's looking at, because the Nevada is an NHS route, so that'll makes it
So our bike master plan should certainly be in there.
Bike master plan should totally be in there.
Okay.
So, and I think we've got a pretty umbrella description of transit planning. But if you can take a look at it, make sure that it,
So just because people work on dates, is there a date you want this by?
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm looking at Craig because he's
I'm
writing
trying,
it.
I don't think, like the 9th of July, is that,
Ooh, I was going to say the 1st, but
okay.
I would say maybe the 1st of July, because then if you have
It's-
till the 9th, and then maybe you
Yeah.
can send a tickler out if people don't.
Okay, yeah, the
Sure.
first works. So,
Thinking, because if you're not seeing anything, then
yeah.
people left this meeting and forgot.
So we'll recommend
That doesn't
approval in
happen.
July,
Yep.
and even if the board's not going to meet in July, we'll do it in August. So, good, okay.
Anything else for Jennifer on the UPWP? Alrighty, moving on to item number 8, Title V and Limited English Proficiency Plans. Review and recommend.
this is also me, so I'm going to stay. So another federal requirement is Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which basically states that if you're receiving federal assistance of any kind for a program or activity, you better not be discriminatory. So the intent of our Title VI plan and the Limited English Proficiency Plan is both to inform the public of those rights under Title VI, but also to encourage participation by segments of the public who have traditionally been underserved by transportation investments. So both of these plans are good for 2 years. Our last one was approved in the summer of 2014, so it is time to renew it. What we're asking for today is a review and recommend from this committee. We need to release basically what's attachment 1 to this memo, the draft Title VI and Limited English Proficiency Plan for public comment, so we can do our 30-day public comment period and then see if we have any changes and ultimately get it to the board for approval.
Thanks. Any questions for Jennifer? Brian?
I'm not sure if it belongs here, but we just had our triennial review last week. And several years ago, Mountain Metro gave PPACG language to include in all of the public notices for plan development and tip development, and you've always included that.
Right?
And even though we've been doing that for years, they noted, and we're trying to get out of it, I don't think it'll be a finding, but they noted that since it wasn't identified in our transit planning agreement that has been in place since 2010, I think.
I would say, yeah, it hasn't changed in years,
Right.
so.
So it's just one of those things that even though we were doing it, we're still kind of getting our hands slapped because it wasn't identified in
Yeah.
the agreement. And now, would this be a place to put something like that?
Totally.
PPACG and public outreach?
Yeah.
Just
And we'll also, one of the things we're going to have to do, now that we've finished our plan, is update our MOAs with CDOT and with MMT. So we're in that, and we've gotten the draft language from CDOT for the MOA, so we should probably start working with you all on draft language for our next update.
Okay.
So, Jen, I think we know what changed already. So,
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Tim?
So, if I remember, Yolanda did this last time, right?
yes.
And wasn't this something that you guys got high marks on with the MPO review?
Yep, so that's
So
why,
Yeah, okay.
we'll see a lot of changes.
Okay.
We can make the ad that Brian asked for on, public outreach, but
But it's pretty much, that's what I was going to ask, if there was very much change. or
we
not.
changed the dates.
Okay. I'll be honest, I didn't review this part, so,
So,
sorry.
I thought Yolanda did a very good job last time. It was very well done.
and the good news is we have a Spanish speaker to replace Yolanda too, so he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be our a limited English proficiency person. So,
Congratulations, kid.
You won't be saying that later.
Alrighty, any further comments or questions? Is there a motion with maybe Brian's amendment?
Yes, I'd like to recommend approval of the Title VI and limited English proficiency plans with the addition of some language that addresses some coordination or language that shows that we coordinate together with PPACG for our transit issues.
I'll second.
First and a second, any comments?
I think the right place to put that is on the second page of the Title VI plan under the map. There's a paragraph, and then under that paragraph, I think is where it would go, is because that's where we're talking about our outreach. So then I think it'd be a natural place to put it.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Brian. That's a great addition.
Thank you.
Member entity announcements.
I do have one. Scott Phillips, who has been our mobility coordinator, he was our TIP manager for a while, and then he was a mobility coordinator. He's resigned effective the end of the month, so we are going to be without a mobility coordinator. Right now, I think that'll most affect how you, I don't know who's going to do it. Yeah, okay, Scott.
Yeah, just want to say thanks to Craig and Rob, Jennifer, chair here, as well as everybody else, CDOT and FHWA. It's been an interesting year, to say the least. And I'll be moving on to, I've taken a job with Broward MPO in Fort Lauderdale. So I figured it's not mountains, I'm a beach guy, actually. But I'd like to thank everybody for the last year. It's been my pleasure being here, and good luck to everybody, and aloha.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Good luck. Bob, you had something.
Yeah, Town of Palmer Lake has recently hired a town administrator. Her name is Catherine Green Sinard. So,
Great. Tim?
So next Tuesday is Bike to Work Day. So I encourage all of you guys, everybody, if you can, to ride your bike to work, or at least to a YMCA. Is it Wednesday? Yeah.
It's
22nd.
It's Tuesday. It actually conflicts with ATAC, so it's Tuesday.
Bike to Work Day?
Yeah.
Pretty certain it's Wednesday.
that's the 22nd.
Talking with Kate Brady.
22nd is Wednesday.
Second.
There we go.
Like a national?
Is it what, Wednesday?
22nd is Wednesday.
Okay.
22nd to Wednesday.
Maybe it's the 21st then. I know it's on Tuesday. Because it conflicts with our meeting.
Just ride for a couple days, you'll be good.
Yeah, let's ride both days.
Yeah, that's definitely what I'm going to do.
So check that out. I'm
It's
sure
next
they'll
week.
It's next week
I'm sure
and
they'll have lots
Wednesday.
of good
And
press
then,
releases.
yeah, we encourage you to ride your bike or join your local YMCA because they're also hosting breakfasts.
It's Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday?
I just looked it up.
Okay. Wednesday, the 22nd.
Anybody else? Dwayne?
Well, if you haven't heard or read the paper or been to Fountain, Todd Evans is now the new Community Development Director, replacing Dave Smedrud. So he came back, left the sheriff's office and came back to Fountain, and no longer a police chief. He's learning planning stuff. So.
Okay.
Anybody went to school? What was I thinking? Anybody? Lauren?
Who is?
City of Woodland Park.
Phil? Did he?
I can do that.
I'd just like to say, we finished one of our federal aid projects. We finished the Glen Eagle sidewalk.
First project I got funding for on my job here.
So, well, it's substantially complete. We have to do all the closeout and everything, but it is finished. And then I'm hoping by next week we'll be able to announce that we finished our Black Forest culverts and are able to reopen Black Forest Road. But
Awesome.
I don't want any press releases yet because we're still hoping to pave this weekend. So, Anyway, Victoria.
We're still working on our major transportation corridor plan. Got a couple business cards passed around for you. Take one, I have more. If you want some more for your town centers or your town halls or your offices, let me know. I'll get some to you. And Craig, I'm going to leave some in your business card.
Please do.
pack.
So I would get on the website. It's pretty cool. Victoria's doing a great job on that plan, and I think we're putting some stuff out for more public comment right now.
We will be in the next meeting, so definitely check back at what we change.
Scott.
Yeah, mobility side, I just want to relay a couple stories that, from this past month. It emphasized how important our demand service is that we have here in this area, and what a good group of people it is that they work together. A couple of things. I received a phone call earlier this month from a client, and before she called us, she had already booked a trip to get to the doctor. And they were charging her $200 for a round trip to go from her house to the doctor's house with assistance. And our local mobility providers that are involved with the MCC here, it's typically a recommended $350 donation each way. For some of those people, that $350 actually might be the difference between lunch or a week's worth of food for. But $200, that's what they're paying on a private provider. So that's very important. One other thing I'd like to give props to Fountain Senior Services. This past weekend, there was a woman that she lives out in Midway Ranch. Her caregiver was murdered over on Sunday. On the same day a year before, her husband was killed in a car accident. It's just pretty traumatizing. She has lesions that have to be packed and everything like that. The caregiver she had took her to the doctor and the grocery store and all this stuff. She had a very important doctor's appointment today. We were able to reach out to the City of Fountain. They stepped up to the plate, ensured that she got to the doctor. She was out of the service area, but it was something that with the network, with the group that we have, they were able to accomplish and get her and take care of her needs, medical needs. So I just want to emphasize that mobility in this area is very valuable, especially to our seniors and our disabled community, because without the demand services that are there, they would not be able to afford a quality of life that otherwise they're provided with now. So anyways, thank you. Good luck. And I do.
Brian.
Following up Bike to Work Day on Wednesday, June 22nd, we're having our first downtown transit station relocation study open house from 5 to 7 in the evening at the old council chambers at the cab. So if you're interested, and thanks PPACG, Jennifer and Rachel have been taking part in the stakeholder working group, and so we're moving along. We've had two technical meetings and 2 stakeholder meetings, and this is the first check-in with the public at the first open house. And then by September, we should be completing the study with hopefully 1 public location identified and 1 private one. So the consultant team went through the first screening, the level 1 screening, from 28 properties to 12. So some were kicked out. There was a pass-fail analysis. Either they had certain features or they didn't, and if they didn't, they were important enough to. So they're going to be sending those 12 through the second level 2 screening. So that's going to be coming up soon. So if you get a chance, come by.
One more from me.
Lots of announcements.
Tim.
Well, this is more of a question. As mentioned earlier, we're about to kick off our bike master plan, and we want to make sure we're integrated with our neighbors. So I would like to invite all of you to participate, or if it's somebody else within your agency, would you please let me know? Like, I imagine it's probably Victoria?
Got tagged already.
Yep,
You did, okay.
county staff is all tagged.
Okay. And how about the military bases?
And we got somebody, Paul Popper,
You've already been contacted too?
we have, yeah, he's been delegated.
Okay.
Tim.
Okay.
Well, and I think Michael and I have the same one, so I'll let Michael go.
You gonna talk about the town hall?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so, once you start it, I'll add in.
Okay, June 30th, 7 PM, CDOT's Transportation Commission, I guess it's the commission technically, not CDOT, but is hosting a telephone town hall, beginning at 7 PM. People will be called at random through an automated system and invited to take part in the town hall. After answering the phone, the call will be automatically connected to the meeting. Anybody who does not receive a call but wants to participate, there's a dial-in number. CDOT also has a text-to-register feature that will allow people to be called on their cell phones. You can text a CDOT Metro and register so that they will call you on your cell phone that night.
And
There's also an online participation format as well. You can go to vekeo.com, which is VEKEO.com / Colorado DOT. That'll allow you to participate. You can just go there and it shows you how to, couple clicks of the button and you'll be able to participate and get a stream of the conversation there. Just a reminder, if you guys recall what this was like, a couple of years ago you did one, but specifically for this MPO region. Participants can submit questions. We can survey participants. We can field a question and say, press 1 for this, 2 for this. So we can do some surveying that way. It's a really good, it's a really powerful way to get participation into planning activities. At that time, it was part of your, sort of statewide and regional planning development. This one's part of the initiative called Together We Go, which is essentially another fun name for saying we're just continuing a conversation. But participation numbers are really high. They're pretty impressive. This particular one is not confined to the MPO area here, but is essentially Pikes Peak plus the majority of Central Front Range planning regions, everything except for Custer County, actually. But the way that plays out is an automated system will place tens of thousands of calls simultaneously and continuously making calls throughout the duration of the conversation. So just as an example, we did one with sort of the south and southeast region of the state about a week ago, and we had a total of 2,400 participants for an average of about 17 minutes each. We never dipped below 240 participants at any one point in time. We had a high of 600. And so these are folks that get on and have, are there for at least a while to hear some conversations of, planning concepts and realities going on in transportation world and so forth. So great experience. So I'd encourage you all, if you like, to, get in there, do the text to register if you want to do it on your cell, or put it on over dinner. It'd be lovely background.
I got one of those for a parks thing, the state parks. It was pretty cool, actually.
Is there an agenda or topics list that'll be talked
I'd
about?
be glad to share with you the script that's developed for it. The script, of course, is only the portion that you pre-prepare. We're going through sort of 3 subject areas, 3 or 4 subject areas. We're going to sort of talk about what are recent accomplishments, things that have been done in the transportation system in recent year or so, and then some others that are coming up. Then we'll talk a little bit about statewide initiatives, things like some of the technology advancements in vehicle technologies, in operations, things going on, incident management, think some Bustang and the rural bus network work. We're talking about some of those things. And then lastly, a conversation on funding, just some general topic of that. Outside of that, the rest of it is all based on the questions that come in. So I'll share that with you. Once it's finalized, I'll share that. And it's probably going to be, well, be by about mid next week. We should have that script. So, yeah.
Lots of good announcements. Anybody else? Alrighty, moving on to item number 10, future TAC meetings. This is what I have, Craig. We need to email Jennifer on our UPWP planning projects by July 1. Staff is going to send out some E-tip stuff, the Excel tip table, and then a doodle poll for some workshops. Anything else that you have coming up, Craig?
We'll resolve the workshops. I know that's, you covered it.
So a lot of us are members of the Regional Joint Land Use Study, and that's a PPACG-sponsored 2-year study looking at land use compatibility for, I think, a 4-county region. And there's a policy committee, a technical committee, and there are some working groups that have been proposed. So one of the working groups is a special transportation working group. And at one of our recent technical committee meetings, we brought up the idea of making sure that Craig is aware of this and leverage our TAC so that we don't have separate working groups and, a TAC working on the same way forward. So just for future reference, something maybe we could have Brian Potts come and brief the committee and tell us what's going on with the study and see where we can help that study out to improve land use compatibility.
Does that cover everybody? I mean, I know that that's bigger than just the Pikes Peak region. I mean, my only question is if that covers, the Fremont County and some of the other Pueblo County and.
I actually have had a conversation with Brian a little bit. It's the Pueblo TAC and then Central Front Range would also be contributing members.
Great.
So.
I just want to make sure.
Yep.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
It is.
All righty. Anything else for the good of the cause before we adjourn? We're adjourned.
Motion.
Less than an hour.
Thanks. Well, I'd say like